If there was one fan-made Yu-Gi-Oh world that I wish I could live in, it would easily be the Xtevens world. Yes, there are doll people and probably some extra laws and stuff that I'd have to learn, but there also isn't some evil mastermind with an army of 1,000,000 minions trying to take over the world. Just some people chilling out and playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! And with this being a world of Yu-Gi-Oh! We of course have regionals, because really, what would Yu-Gi-Oh! Be without a tournament? Well, the answer is Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, but I'm getting off topic. Jordan has just come back from winning regionals and officially going pro. Xtevens comes up and asks him what that means. Jordan says that it means that he wins all the time. Xtevens asks if that means if he and Jordan duel and Xtevens wins, wouldn't that make him pro? Jordan says, sure I guess, and the two agree to a duel. That's all the that we have and need really, so thank you to Dusan Cookie Wolf for requesting this duel, and let's duel this. The duel begins and Xtevens goes first. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Mind Control, Overwind, Zen Malfunction, Wind Up Shark, Wind Up Factory, and Wind Up Magician. He immediately plans to go into a Wind Up Loop, which is a very long and convoluted combo that would make Jordan keep discarding cards so that he would start with basically no opening hand or only one card in his hand, not counting the draw for turn. Meanwhile, Xtevens would still have cards to play and two Xyz monsters. And it's basically GG from there. A very solid plan that couldn't easily backfire. Well, unless Jordan opened Max C or Effect Veiler, but what are the odds of that happening, right? Xtevens starts by activating his continuous spell card Wind Up Factory. Next, he normal summons his Wind Up Magician. After that, he activates the effect of Wind Up Shark in his hand. Because a Wind Up monster was summoned, he can special summon this card as well. Jordan chains though, activating the effect of Max C from his hand. And I don't even need to tell you what this card does, it's Max C. It explains itself. And I can't give you a better reaction than Xtevens is here. Seriously, how is this never a meme? Oh, it was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Product from 11 years ago. Never mind. Anyway, Shark is special summoned through its effect, and Jordan draws one card, which is Tour Guide from the Underworld. With his loop screwed, Xtevens decides to go a different route. Now, because a Wind Up monster's effect activated, two effects go off. Wind Up Magician and then Factory's effect. So, in reverse chain order, once per turn, Factory will let Xtevens add a level 4 or lower Wind Up monster from his deck to his hand, and he chooses Shark. Now, Magician's effect. Once per turn, while it's face up, Xtevens can special summon one level 4 or lower Wind Up monster from his deck in face up defense position. He summons Wind Up Rabbit, and Jordan draws a card, which is Forbidden Lance. Xtevens then sets Overwind face down, and it's his turn. Now, Xtevens could have continued the Wind Up loop from there, but the thing is, for every one card Xtevens would make Jordan discard, he would have to special summon two cards, meaning that Jordan would be drawing more cards than he lost. So doesn't that mean that Xtevens could have decked Jordan out? No, because the Wind Up loop is not an infinite loop. Xtevens would eventually run out of Rats and Zen Mighties to summon to facilitate the loop. Now if Xtevens had opened 3 Pot of Avarices, then maybe. But he didn't, so he couldn't. Besides, I think Avarice was limited at the time anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. So it's not a misplay that he didn't keep it going. Anyway, it's Jordan's turn. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Debunk, Effect Veiler, Soul Taker, Solemn Warning, Tour Guide from the Underworld, Forbidden Lands, and Rescue Rabbit. Man, what are the odds that Xtevens opened the perfect going first hand, and Jordan opened the perfect going second hand? I'm starting to think that this stuff is scripted. During the standby phase, Xtevens uses Wind Up Rabbit's effect. It can banish any Wind Up monster in the field until the next standby phase. He banishes Magician. Factory goes off, and Xtevens adds Wind Up Kitten to his hand. Jordan then properly starts his turn by summoning Rescue Rabbit. He uses his effect, banishing it to special summon 2 level 4 or lower monsters from his deck with the same name. He special summons 2 Sabersauruses. They're both destroyed at the end phase though. Jordan enters his battle phase and has his first Sabersaurus attack Shark. During the damage step, Xtevens activates his trap card Overwind. Now Xtevens can target a Wind Up monster, in this case Shark, and double its attack and defense points until the end of the turn. Jordan chains though, activating Forbidden Lance. By targeting a monster in the field, in this case Shark, that monster becomes immune to other spell or trap effects for the rest of the turn, but it loses 800 attack points. So Shark's attack goes down to 700. Overwind does nothing, the attack continues, Shark is destroyed, Xtevens takes 1200 damage. The other Sabersaurus attacks and destroys the defense position Rabbit. Jordan moves on to his main phase 2 and uses both of his monsters to Xyz summon the rank 4 Yugioh. Jordan sets Solemn Warning and Debunk face down, then ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Mystical Space Typhoon. He immediately activates it and manages to destroy Solemn Warning. Then, during the standby phase, Magician returns to the field. Next, he normal summons Wind Up Kitten. Jordan chains though, using Lagia's effect. By detaching 2 overlay units, he can negate the normal or special summon of Xtevens' monster and destroy it, so the cat is declawed. Plan B! Xtevens activates Zen Malfunction, which can revive any wind-up monster in his graveyard, but it's summoned in defense position, its effects are negated, and it cannot be tributed or use a single material. He revives Shark. Now he uses the effect of the shark in his hand to try to special summon it. Jordan chains that though with the counter trap Debunk, which negates the effect of a monster that activates while in the hand or graveyard and removes it from play. So the second shark is sunk. Plan C. Xtevens uses the effect of the first shark, which would change its level. The effect is negated, but Factory still goes off, and since Magician is classified as a new monster, it goes off too. Jordan chains yet again though, this time activating the effect of the Effect Veiler in his hand. On the opponent's turn, he can discard this card to negate one opponent's monster's effects while on the field. So he negates Magician's effect till the end of the turn.
You're not letting me do anything.
Welcome to the meta, Xtevens. Factory still resolves though, and he fetches Wind Up Rat. He then overlays his level 4 Shark and Magician to Xyz summon rank 4 Wind Up Zen Master, and it gains 300 attack points for every Xyz material it has, giving it 2,500. Xtevens enters his battle phase and attacks Lagia with Zen Master, destroying him and dealing 100 points of damage to Jordan. Xtevens ends his turn. I think you can see why this series was so beloved in its heyday. It's proper Yu-Gi-Oh! Where no one's an idiot making misplays out the wazoo. It's Jordan's turn. He draws and gets Chain Disappearance. He starts by normal summoning Tour Guide from the Underworld. He uses its effect. On summon, Tour Guide can special summon a level 3 Fiend type monster from his deck with its effect negated. So it summons Tor Bus from the Underworld. Jordan overlays his 2 level 3 monsters to Xyz summon rank 3 Leviair the Sea Dragon. Now he uses its effect, detaching 1 overlay unit, Tor Bus, to special summon a banished level 4 or lower monster. He summons back Rescue Rabbit. Tor Bus's effect activates. Since it went to the graveyard, Jordan can target 1 monster in either player's graveyard, except itself, and shuffle it back into the deck. He shuffles back a Sabersaurus. Jordan then uses Rescue Rabbit's effect, banishing it to summon back 2 Sabersauruses from the deck. Next, he uses Soul Taker. Zen Mighty is destroyed, but Xtevens gains 1,000 life points. Jordan enters his battle phase and attacks directly with all of his monsters, dealing 5,600 points of damage and knocking Xtevens down to 2,200 life points. After that, he goes into his main phase 2 and overlays both Sabersauruses to Xyz summon rank 4 Yugioh. Lastly, he sets Chain Disappearance face down and ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Book of Moon. He normal summons Wind Up Rat. Jordan chains to this, activating Chain Disappearance. Because Xtevens summons a monster with 1,000 attack points or less, that monster is banished, and as many copies of that card is banished from his hand and deck. Xtevens tells Jordan to call an ambulance, but not for him, because he activates the spell card Mind Control. This lets him take control of one of Jordan's monsters until the end phase, but it cannot attack or be tributed. He takes Leviair the Sea Dragon. Next, he uses Book of Moon to set 1 monster in the field into face-down defense position. He sets Dolka. And now that he's finally free to play the game, he activates Leviair's effect, detaching Tour Guide to revive Wind Up Rabbit in attack mode. He then uses Rat's effect. By switching into defense mode, he can resurrect 1 Wind Up monster from his graveyard in defense position. He brings back Wind Up Rabbit. Also, Factory goes off, so he fetches his 3rd Shark. Next, Xtevens overlays his 2 level 3 Rat and Rabbit to Xyz summon his own rank 3 Leviair the Sea Dragon. And Leviair isn't a hard once per turn, so he uses his Leviair's effect, detaching Wind Up Rabbit to bring back another banished Wind Up Rat in attack position. And because Rat isn't a hard once per turn either, he uses its effect again, switching into defense position to revive Wind Up Rabbit once again. He overlays those 2 once again to Xyz summon rank 3 Wind Up Carrier Zen Mighty. Now Zen Mighty's effect activates by detaching the Xyz material, or say it's Rabbit again, to special summon 1 Wind Up monster from his hand or deck. So from the deck, he summons Wind Up Hunter in attack position. He then uses the effect of the shark in his hand, special summoning it in attack mode. Xtevens then enters his battle phase and attacks the defense position Doka with his own Levier the Sea Dragon, destroying Doka. He then attacks directly with Zen Mighty, Hunter, and Shark, dealing 4,600 points of damage to Jordan, knocking him down to 3,300 life points. Next, during his main phase 2, he uses Shark's effect to either increase or decrease its own level, and he chooses decrease, so Shark becomes level 3. Finally, he overlays Shark and Hunter to XZ summon rank 3 Wind Up Zen Mains in defense mode. Xtevens ends his turn, so Jordan gets his Levier back. Now we gotta give a big misplay to Jordan right here. If he had not used Change Its Appearance and instead let Rat try to use its effect so that Doka could negate and destroy it, he would have been way better off and would have actually won the duel. Now I don't think Factory could activate since Rat's effect was negated, but even if it did so, there are no Cyber Dragon-like monsters in the Wind-Up archetype yet. So what would have happened is, Xtevens summons Rat, tries to use its effect, Doka negates and destroys. Maybe Xtevens searches something like a second kitchen, we'll just say. But after that, what could he do? He has no banished monsters, so stealing Levier would be pointless. He probably just set Book of Moon and passed to Jordan, who then draws and uses Levier's effect to bring back his rabbit. Xtevens would probably use Book of Moon to negate the effect, not certain if it would, but if it does, Jordan will just flip Levier into face of attack position and attack for game. Or he could just summon the Guaiba he just drew, go into his battle phase. Xtevens uses Book of Moon on Doka, so at least it can't one-shot him. And then Levier and Guaiba attack for game. So really big misplay for Jordan to banish a bunch of Xtevens monsters when you have a monster that revives banished monsters on the field. Had you not done that, you would have won. So yeah, misplay. Back to the duel. It's Jordan's turn. He draws and gets Drak Guaiba. He summons Guaiba and enters his battle phase. He attacks Zen Mighty with Guaiba. Zen Mighty is destroyed and Xtevens takes Sparks damage. Guaiba's effect activates. Since it destroyed a monster in battle, Jordan can special summon another Drak monster from his deck in attack position, but it cannot declare an attack this turn. He summons a second Guaiba. Next, he attacks Xtevens' Levier with his own Levier. Both monsters are destroyed. Main phase 2, he overlays both Guaibas to exceed summon his second Doka. Jordan ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn. He draws and gets Upstart Goblin. He activates it. So Xtevens draws one card, but Jordan gains 1,000 life points. And the card he drew is Mirror of Oaths. He sets Mirror of Oaths face down and ends his turn. It's Jordan's turn. He draws and gets his second tour guide from the Underworld. He summons it and uses its effect, special summoning Sangan from his deck. Next, he overlays both monsters to exceed summon his second Levier. He then uses Levier's effect, detaching supposedly tour guide to bring back Rescue Rabbit. Jordan then uses Rescue Rabbit's effect, banishing it to special summon 2 Cabazals from his deck. However, now it's Xtevens' turn to change, as he activates his trap card Mirror of Oaths. Because Jordan special summoned 2 monsters from his main deck, both Cabazals are destroyed, and Xtevens gets to draw 1 card, and he gets Book of Eclipse. Jordan enters his battle phase and attacks Zen Mains with Doka. Xtevens uses Zen Main's effect. By detaching an overlay unit, we'll say it's Hunter, he can prevent Zen Mains from being destroyed. Jordan ends his turn and Zen Mains' other effect automatically activates. Since it used its first effect, once per turn, Xtevens can target 1 card in the field and destroy it. But before Xtevens can even target anything, Jordan chains with Doka's effect. By detaching a Guaiba, it can both negate a monster's effect and destroy that monster. Xtevens chains though, detaching Shark to save Zen Mains, but the destruction effect was still negated. It's Xtevens' turn now. He draws and gets Salvage. He activates it, letting him add 2 water monsters with 1500 or less attack from his grave to his hand. He adds back 2 Wind-Up Sharks. Next, he activates Quick Play spell card Book of Eclipse, which puts all monsters in the field into face-down defense position. By the end phase, they're all flipped back up again, and Jordan will get to draw 1 card for every monster he controlled that was flipped. So, Zen Main's Doka and Levier are all set. Next, he normal summons Shark, and then activates the effect of the other Shark in his hand, summoning it as well. Also, Factory's effect goes off, fetching another Wind-Up Rabbit. Then he activates both of the Shark's effects, this time increasing both of their levels to 5. Xtevens overlays both Sharks to exceed summon the rank 5 Wind-Up Arsenal Zenmayo. Now he uses its effect, By detaching an Xtevens material, it can destroy 2 set cards on the field. So, a shark is attached, and Doka and Leviair are popped like pimples. Xtevens flip summons Zen mains and attacks directly with both of his monsters, dealing 4,100 points of damage and reducing Jordan's life points to 200. Xtevens ends his turn and tells Jordan to make his count. It's Jordan's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws against Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning! Jordan banishes the light attribute Effect Veiler and the dark attribute Tour Guide from his graveyard
to summon Blackluster Soldier.
Xtevens admits that counts. BLS attacks and destroys Zenmayo, dealing 400 points of damage to Xtevens. Then BLS's effect activates. Since it destroyed a monster in battle, it can attack a second time. It attacks and destroys Zenmaity, dealing 1,500 points of damage and reducing Xtevens down to 100 life points. Aw man, first one to draw Sparks wins! Jordan ends his turn. It's Xtevens' turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Spark. Nah, I'm just messing with you. He gets Creature Swap. He normal summons Wind Up Rabbit. He then uses Creature Swap. So both players swap control of one monster that they control with their opponent's monster. So Jordan gets Rescue Rabbit and Xtevens gets BLS. Xtevens enters his battle phase and attacks Rabbit for game, winning the duel. So could Jordan have beaten Xtevens? Well, as said earlier, yes. If he had just used Doka's effect instead of changed his appearance, he would have won. But to be fair, he didn't and couldn't know that Xtevens had mind control in hand. Also, since he had 2 Dokas, I feel he could have gone to a second Logi instead of Doka. Since if he had negated Rat's summon altogether, Xtevens is basically screwed. But I can't prove that he has a second Logia, so I won't count that as a misplay. Either way, Jordan proved why he's a pro, and Xtevens is now too. Well, maybe not officially, but in the eyes of the fans he is, and arguably, that's even better. But anyway, what do you all think? Did you notice any misplays that I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to give Xtevens' channel a look if you haven't already. With all that said, I'll see you all next time. Later.